Entertainment Soldier here, and I'm back to talk about Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 3, Episode 5, and my thoughts on this episode. I liked it. I gotta be honest, I liked this episode. I think this is the first time we've actually seen Rutherford, show a different character to himself. Like, quite literally, in this case. But yeah, I liked this episode. I even liked Mariner in this episode. Boimler. Tendi was just there, but there you go. But yeah, the episode didn't feel long. It felt interesting. It actually had a good storyline to it. I'm just really shocked because this is Lower Decks, and well, if you're regular to my channel, you know how much I hate this show. But this episode was fun, enjoyable, didn't take the piss too much out of Star Trek, and didn't really break any canon for me. Strange. Yeah, I mean, for me, I can't believe I'm saying this, 7 out of 10 for this episode. I mean, the story was just interesting, and the second story was interesting. It seemed like they actually thought about this episode to an extent, and now we've got like this well, I'll go about that in spoilers, but yeah, it's a good episode. I mean, I'm still shocked I'm saying that. It was a good episode. Like, how the hell did they do that? But yeah, it's a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it really much. So let's go into spoilers now. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So yeah, so the episode starts off with us on the Cerritos with Rutherford, who's having a nightmare about a engine blow up in his face. He goes to see Tendi about it. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember the beginning. No, sorry, let's start that again. So, the next scene is us in the cargo bay, or their cargo bay, where Mariner's bitching about being put on the Starfleet recruiting booth. And now, Boimler's happy about it because he's happy doing whatever he's told. And Mariner's just moaning about it because it's a normal job that she has to do because she's still under the spotlight of her mother's number one. I forgot his name. I still don't know his name. It's been 3 seasons. So she still has to watch out for him, but she's going to bitch and moan about the assignment. And Boimler's just going to be next to her, just enjoying it, so whatever. Anyway, let's go to the real story. So, we see that Rutherford's trying to fix the shuttle in the cargo bay, but he's too tired to work because he hasn't had a decent night's sleep because of the dream he keeps having. And Tendi scans him with a tricorder and just tells him he needs to go to bed, get a decent night's sleep, and she resets something in his head to help him do that. So Rutherford goes off to have a nap. Next scene is Mariner still moaning on a shuttle about, the assignment. And then the second in command comes and pretty much overhears her moaning and pretty much tells her, yeah, do as you're told or I'll send you to Starbase 88. Now, apparently Starbase 88 is a shithole and nobody wants to go there. So Mariner starts shutting up because she doesn't want to be sent there. And then second in command says, if you don't do a good job and if you leave that booth, you're pretty much fucked. So she has to stay behind that booth and make sure that she has a bunch of people signing up for Starfleet. So the shuttle heads down there, they get down to the planet, and the next scene is Rutherford waking up from his nap, and it turns out somebody else has woken up in his place because it's not our Rutherford. So this Rutherford, or what should I call him? I'm not going to call him Cool Rutherford because he was not cool, but it was interesting it was an interesting story with them two. I'll call him Young Rutherford. So Young Rutherford doesn't really know what's happening. He's been oppressed in old Rutherford's mind because of something that's happened to him in the past. So he's only just woken up now. He's now walking through the ship, not knowing where he is, finds out it's a California class, and as we've been pretty much told relentlessly by this show, the California class is a joke. And then he starts hitting on some random security officer and then insults her and makes her go and cries. I don't know why she cried about that, but she makes her cry. But then Rutherford, the older one, starts talking to him through mirrors, so apparently he can see him in mirrors now. And Rutherford accidentally tells him about Tendi, so young Rutherford then goes to find Tendi so he can find out when security are off duty so he can steal something. So he goes to Tendi, asks her about the security details off time, and Tendi just tells him, but Rutherford manages to find a way to stop him from getting away with it by punching himself in his implant, whatever, and that manages to hurt Rutherford. Young Rutherford. So young Rutherford still runs off, manages to get to a transporter, transports himself onto the captain's yacht, because every Starfleet ship has a captain's yacht, even a California class for some reason. And he tries to steal the yacht, but he gets stopped by the security Bajoran guy, and they take him to sickbay, and the doctor scans him, finds out there's 2 minds in Rutherford's head. Turns out that the implant was suppressing his younger self, and the Rutherford that we know, he was created by the implant setting. So they restarted his mind because of something that happened in the past. Now we're in the mind of Rutherford. They start to talk to each other, the young Rutherford and old Rutherford, and the young Rutherford starts to explain to him like his past and how he's been stuck in his mind for such a long time, and he was never the original Rutherford, the old one, and he wants to get his body back. Now I found this story interesting. Like we don't really get this sort of stories from Lower Decks. We usually just get, bitching, moaning, and boring episodes like last week. So this was an interesting story to me. 2 Rutherfords in one body, and then we start to find out about something mysterious going on in the background to do with his implants, which I found interesting. Because is this something to do with, Starfleet security? Is this something to do with, Section 31? Because, Section 31 and Starfleet security are not the same thing. But we might find out about whatever's happening later on in the series. I'm not going to hold my breath though, because I thought it was going to happen with this last season's cliffhanger with the captain getting arrested, and that turned into nothing, but who knows? But anyway, so young Rutherford tells him that when he was in the academy, he wasn't a straight shooter, he wasn't a good guy, he was kind of like a badass, cool guy who used to race ships in the neutral zone. So I didn't really find that bit that bad. Of course it's ridiculous because, again, Romulans would be up their arse quicker than anything because they are so crazy about the neutral zone. So that was weird. Then the next scene is us with Mariner and Boimler. Now I want to get the Mariner and Boimler stuff out of the way quick because it was a kind of good story, the Mariner and Boimler stuff, but I kind of do want to concentrate on Rutherford. So I'm going to get through this part quickly. So Mariner is trying to get people to sign up for Starfleet, but she sat next to this really annoying bitch who is an archaeologist, and she starts saying the most ridiculous things like, well, she was in Starfleet, she was a fucking amazing Starfleet officer, the archaeologist woman, and she keeps taking shots at Starfleet every so often, like, Starfleet's uniform, or Starfleet being a navy, not a science fleet. Now, and then she says, why is Starfleet always attacking people? And I'm just like, are you fucking crazy? Like, Starfleet attack people? Like, what? The Klingons attacked first, so did the Romulans, so did the fucking Borg, the Dominion. Like, where did the Federation attack first, love? Where? Like, what kind of bullshit is this? Like, she seems to think Starfleet's just gonna get rid of all the battleships. Like, Starfleet doesn't even have any battleships. What is wrong with this bitch? I really wanted to punch that cunt in the fucking face when I was watching this episode, because I was on Mariner's side all the way through. I said, Mariner, just jump over there and kick the shit out of her. That mouthy cunt. Sorry about the swearing, but god damn it, this cow, man. Like, how the fuck is the Federation fleet a military fleet? Yes, they have phasers. Yes, they have torpedoes. Yes, they have rifles. It's like, yes, but they have that because if they don't have it, then they'll be dead. Because of everything that goes on in the galaxy. This is so ridiculous. And so this archaeologist keeps taking the shots at Starfleet. Mariner keeps trying to shoot back. And then everybody at the other table start taking the piss out of the Starfleet booth. And then these idiots come over to Boimler, taking a shot at the Starfleet uniform. And in this episode it was pretty much said that the California class's uniforms, because I said, why is the uniform different with other ships? Turns out California class, their uniforms are what Mariner and Boimler wear, and everybody else wears that grey-black uniform. I will give them credit for, answering that question, because I did ask that question, like, why is their uniforms different? I still don't know why their uniforms are different, but at least they've kind of put it out there that there's a reason for it, like the California class has a different uniform. And I would like a bit more of an explanation for that, rather than it's just how it is. But at least they confirmed it, and it's not just some weird random thing. But it is a weird random thing, but at least they kind of explained it a little bit. A little bit. Anyway, so these idiots come over, take the piss out of Boimler's uniform. Then they take his pip from him and stomp on it, and that just makes Boimler go fucking crazy. And I'll give credit to Boimler. He's normally a bitch in these episodes, but he jumps up, starts kicking the crap out of the other tables, and actually says right things like, yes, they're a Federation fleet, and yes, they want to be scientists, but they have to defend people. Like, again, everything he was saying, I agree with, man. Like, the conspiracy theories, you're all losers, and oh, you fucking collectors, you're all losers. It's like, for fuck's sake, yeah, they're taking shots at Starfleet, but are they any better? Like, at least they're in Starfleet. I mean, fuck a lot of them, in my opinion. And yeah, it was good to see Boimler stand up for himself. I would like to see more of that. And Mariner was just happy because it just made a bunch of people want to join Starfleet, so she was able to get a bunch of signatures. And that's pretty much saved her ass with the second in command. Which, yeah, kind of can like. Anyway, so that's the end of their story. Oh, and Boimler gets put in, what does he get put in? He gets put in the brig, but he gets like a well done from the second in command, or number one. And Mariner gets left with doing the log, the mission log. And while she's doing the mission log, the archaeologist pretty much says sorry for what she did, but she needed to create distraction so she could rob the museum and get the Grand Nagus's what the hell is that thing called? Walking stick or staff. I know that's not what it's called, but I can't really remember what it's called right now. What is it called? Scepter. That's what it's called. It's called a scepter. How the hell did I forget that? Yeah, so she's going to sell the Grand Nagus scepter back to the Ferengi for a pretty profit. But she's called Mariner so that she can offer her a job. Like, if she's ever tired of Starfleet, give her a call. And Mariner says no, and then Kurt tells her to go away, basically. But she says, the office is going to stay open. If you ever think about leaving Starfleet, give me a call. And then she ends the call. Mariner's about to delete the number from her pad, but she decides to keep it. And I don't know, maybe she'll leave, maybe she'll stay. Who knows? But I will say, I enjoyed Mariner in this episode, and I definitely did enjoy Boimler in this episode. But let's get on to the main story now. So, back in the mind of Rutherford, they have to what the doctor says outside is that one of them, it can only survive, and whoever does survive will take over the body. And that's what young Redford tells old Redford. Whoever goes to the blue light, because it's the blue light that comes down, whoever gets to that blue light becomes dominant and takes over the brain of Redford. So young Redford tries to head for it, but old Redford stops him. They both have a little fight over it, but they pretty much both come to the conclusion that this is not going to work. They need to just have a fair way to decide. And so young Redford says, let's do a race. And so both decide to build racing ships so they can race in the neutral zone. And Redford decides, well, old Redford decides to build the Delta Flyer. Now, this would normally piss me off because they're just using nostalgia to kind of keep you in an episode. But I like seeing the Delta Flyer back in Star Trek. I think it's a great design. And young Redford makes this really ugly looking ship. Yeah, it was ugly and it was weird. I didn't like it at all. So they both get ready and the race starts. Redford starts, young Redford takes the lead. Old Redford tries to catch him up, but young Redford's ship is faster. And from out of nowhere, a Romulan warbird decloaks and starts attacking young Redford. But old Redford decided to imagine his entire team with him, so all of his friends, Tendi, Mariner, Boimler, as his crew on the Delta Flyer. They managed to save young Redford from the Klingon warbird, and they then warp away from it. And young Redford is seriously hurt from the attack, but tells old Redford that he's better and he's happy that he's having a good life and that he's ready to die. And old Redford tries to stop him and say, listen, we're putting another brain. But he doesn't want that. He just wants to tell him, you're doing well, you've got great friends. And I kind of like that scene, you know, kind of showed him growing up. But before he goes, he gives old Redford the memories back of the implant, of who put it into him. You don't see who put it into him, but you kind of see that it was a commanding officer at the academy. And they tell, and in the scene when they're putting the implant on him, they say that they're going to put it in the machine to make Redford think that he decided to get the implant. And so we now have a mystery of who put the implant on Redford. So old Redford wakes up and gives Tendi a hug, and then he now has to figure out who put the implant on him, because it apparently was a secret assignment that Redford was put on with this secret commanding officer. And so now Redford is going to try to find out who's done this to him. And that's how the episode ends. I think it was a good episode. It was interesting seeing Redford go through this. I mean, we don't really see dominant episodes of Redford. Again, that's all I've been asking for. Stop concentrating on Mariner and Boimler, and instead start concentrating on the other two, because the other two can be interesting characters, even Tendi. But they've got to let them grow, and they've got to let them, you know, have their own stories. Again, don't concentrate on one character on one show. It's ridiculous. And I like this episode. I like the race scene. I like the fact Boimler stood up for himself. So yeah, for me, this episode is a 7 out of 10. It was a good episode, and I am still quite surprised I'm saying that. And that's the end of my review. If you like this review, give it a like. If you dislike this review, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. Entertainment Soldier. Bye.